Dad's on deck, horror shop, it's where all the cool kids go. The friendly info will show you around. We reward him with the fresh souls of our customers. Shadows, t-shirts, winter tees, and so much more. Tags on deck, horror shop, you will never want to leave. Your friendly info will show you around. We reward him with the fresh souls of our customers. Candles, t-shirts, weather tees, and so much more. Dad's on deck, horror shop, you will never want to leave. Watching movies with a dead chick and the gang, funny, strange, hysterical, or just plain bad. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more. We got it all this weekend. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more. We got it all this weekend. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know why it won't add me big anymore. But I guess I'll deal with it till StreamYard changes things up again. Hey, Russell. Thank you for stopping by. I didn't know for sure if I was going to have anybody tonight, but I know that you've been liking a lot of these watch alongs, so I'm glad to see you in here. Hopefully, we'll get a few more in here before the movie is over. But in case you weren't sure, tonight's movie is Evil Laugh. And this is the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. But never fear, if you don't have the Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome and you want to watch along tonight, I have a link in the chat. It is on YouTube, folks. So you can watch the whole film right on YouTube. So also, I hope that you guys and gals that either saw it now or will see it on the replay enjoy the promo for the Deadites on Deck Horror Shop. I thought I'd do a little more advertising for my horror shop because I haven't had a sale and Lord knows when. So thought I would do a little promoting. I do have a mascot now for the shop. His name is Poe, and he's a slimy green imp with red eyes, and you can see him in the promo. So I'm planning on making t-shirt graphics with him on it. I can put him on a coffee mug for you, or a tumbler, or a t-shirt, or heck, he may get his own tea before all things are said and done. So be sure to stop on by deaditesondeck.com. I need to start putting that clickable link back in the description for the videos. But I'm going to add deaditesondeck.com. That's where you can go for all kinds of horror related stuff. And keep in mind, I do custom work. So if you want your grandkids, your kids, your significant other, you want y'all's last anniversary picture, or your a honeymoon picture where you were on a cruise or whatever, your wedding picture. I can do that. I can put those on t-shirts. I can put them on tote bags. I can put them on hats. I could put them on a coffee mug if you want. I could put them on a tumbler. So just hop on over to deadeyesondeck.com to check all of that out. Plus, I've got a couple of sales going on right now, or discounts, or whatever you want to call them, or special promotional stuff. So if you buy one horror candle, you can get another for free by using a code. And I think that it's Candle Craze 25. The Candle Craze is all in caps, and then 25 on the end of that. And you'll put that in for the promo code when you get ready to check out. Okay. So just remember, I've got that going on. Candle Craze 25. If you buy one candle, you get another one free. So be sure to check that out at deadeyesondeck.com. Also, if you spend from now until April the 8th, if you spend $30 or more, you will get $10 off your entire order, folks. So you could get that double feature candle set I've got out for the hot buttered popcorn and the cola scented candles that are normally $30. Bam, you can get $10 off with Slasher Spring 25 promo code. Slasher Spring is all in caps, 25 on the end. Okay, so that's all the announcements about the shop. Be sure to get your votes in for the next watch along movies, which will be on March 22nd and 23rd. We've got a 3-way tie for the Saturday voting, and if that tie isn't broken, I'm going to have to put the 3 movies in a hat and draw out of a hat. So make sure that you get your votes in. You've got about another week that you can vote on those. And then I will be picking winners either by vote, or if there's still a 3-way tie on the one, like I said, I'll have to put the 3 movies into a hat and pull one out. Okay. And if you don't trust me, I can go on camera and do that if need be. Okay. So tomorrow night's watch along, also starting at 9 p.m. Eastern time, will be Chopping Mall. I'll try to find a link to this movie so you can watch it for free if you don't own a copy of it. We'll have more Dick's Picks next week. We'll have more Cannon Fodder next week. More They're All Messed Up. Probably won't be a Friday Foolish because I have to work a late Friday this coming week, and it won't really give me and Candace an opportunity to do Friday Foolish that evening like we would normally do. Also, I want to remind everybody, and this is not trying to push people to come to the live streams, but I'm going to try the Dick's Picks and the Cannon Fodder as live streams one more week. And if people don't show up and watch them live, then I'm just going to have no other choice but to make them video only. Pre-recorded video, you watch them whenever you want to. I know you can watch them whenever you want to after they're already on the channel page. But I have so much fun interacting with you folks that I feel foolish if I'm just on there talking to my computer screen and there's nobody else in here. So if there's not an interest there to watch them live, then I don't want to do them live. I will do them, as another option. If somebody would rather I do them at a different time or something. I've tried later. I don't think I've tried earlier, but I've tried later and nobody, seems to care. So, I know Dana's bitching and moaning again about stuff. Um, but I'm not sad. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I just want to do things that you guys and gals are interested in. And when people don't show up, or worse yet, they don't watch them on the replay, and these things ain't been getting many views either, it makes me think that, well, maybe I'm not doing the right kind of content. So if I'm not doing the right kind of content, please, guys, gals, let me know. I want the input from you guys. Okay. As long as you're not, abusing me, verbally abusing me, saying I'm a fat ass, or, ugly or stupid or something like that, then I'm totally fine with constructive criticism regarding the channel. Okay. And as long as you're not on here acting like a jerk about my use of AI. Hey, I use AI. I admit to it. But everything I do is not AI, folks. So just because you see a cartoon picture or something like that, a lot of people are doing those now. That does not mean AI. So, and Russell, I'm not yelling at you, hon, because I know you haven't done that, but there were multiple people or one person with alternate accounts yesterday, early during the Friday Foolish. And no, I'm not giving them attention. And when they're in here, they're just going to get blocked and deleted. And that's all I'll say about that. But if your only purpose in life is to come into people's live streams and be a jerk, then in mine, you're not going to get any attention. You're just going to get blocked. Okay. So fair warning. And so now I'm moving on to bigger and better things and more fun things. Okay. So Russell, are you going to be watching along with Evil Laugh tonight? Do you have a version to watch? I know there's 4 people in here right now, but Russell's the only one I've seen in the chat right now. So, and I hope y'all will permit me to eat the rest of my soup because I'm kind of late. All right, awesome, Russell. I was a little late getting my dinner eaten, so hopefully you guys and gals won't mind if I finish up my soup during the beginning of this watch along. So to let everybody know where I am queued up at, I am queued up about 10 seconds in. You've never seen it, Russell? I think you're in for a treat. But I'm queued up 10 seconds on the Blu-ray to Cinevest Presents. So I'll give everybody that's going to be watching along tonight a minute or two to get queued up. And as always, if anybody comes in here and they can behave, and I don't think I need to explain to you guys and gals what behave means. I think y'all know what that means. So I'm not going to repeat those things. Those aren't rules. It's just point blank. If you can't behave and you get on this live stream, you're gone. Back to the chat, but you're not going to be live on the screen with me. It's not a rule. It's not a threat. It's just the way things are. So if you can behave and you want to be on here with me live on the stream, please let me know. And I will be sure to get the link to you. If somebody comes in later and needs a timestamp, I'm sure either me or someone in the chat will be glad to give that timestamp to you for those of us that are watching along. And I think we'll give it probably about another minute. And then Russell, if we don't hear anything, any screams from the peanut gallery, we will go ahead and get started with this movie. And maybe we'll have some more people join us in the chat. as we get started with this. Now, I don't think my husband, Steve, I don't think he's a big fan of Evil Laugh, but he did buy me this for Christmas. What was it, a year or two ago, when Vinegar Syndrome came out with it. So he loves me enough to get me a movie that he doesn't necessarily care for. But I hope you guys and gals that were able to join us for Terrifier 3, Hope and I, last night, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. It was fun. You know, that was an outrageously gory and violent movie. But with Hope in here and you guys and gals in the chat, I know, Russell, you were here last night. I think everybody had a good time. And I would like to do more of those. And I told Hope that she has an open invitation to come on anytime she would like, and she can suggest movies for us to do watch alongs together on. So, you know, I am all game for that because it was like the old days last night with Hope on there with me. And 3 channels on YouTube showing Evil Laugh. Russell, I found one of them, but evidently you must have found a couple more. That's awesome, though. It's also like old times when Chris is on here or Candace is on here. I'd love to get some of the old crew that used to come on here with me, but so far they haven't expressed an interest, a strong interest in being on here. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think we'll go ahead and get started. And if somebody comes in here later, we'll get them up to speed. So we're going to do the countdown. We're going to go ahead and get started. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play. And we're off and running with birds chirping. Or at least that's what my subtitles tell me. Now, if you are watching this from home and you are able to hear the sound, there are some creepy moments in this movie. People might say it's, you know, hokey and silly and all that stuff, but it does have some creepy moments. Oh, this is Mr. Burns, the realtor, who got scared by the grocery store delivery guy, who looks like he's been smoking something. Hopefully, I won't have to leave too much during this watch along because I hate to leave, you know, and go out of the stream when I've got nobody else on here with me. But occasionally, I do have to tend to the dogs or to run to the restroom. This guy here, Jerry, is just getting out of his car here. This is a weird looking dude to me. Well, when we see a close up of his face. And so this movie doesn't waste any time either, because we're going to see here shortly that this kid, or, you know, teenager, he's probably 20 something, but I think he's playing a teenager. as is usual in horror movies. Um, we're going to see that something bad's going to happen to him very soon. For one thing, this Jerry looks like he's got a receding hairline and he's supposed to be a medical student. And I know medical students have been in school a long time, but I still don't think he would have a receding hairline. So you don't see the grocery store delivery boy anywhere around here. That is an ugly ass kitchen too. I hate that. Like I like a pretty yellow, but that's not even a pretty yellow in the kitchen. So he's getting mad because something bad's going to happen to Jerry here too here in just a few seconds. But he's mad because they didn't give him a liver. He's like, "Where the fuck's the liver?" These are some weird people wanting to eat liver and stuff. Now, if you eat liver, Russell or anybody else that's watching this, please don't take offense at that. Oh, this is what I mean by not wasting too much time here before the first kill. Okay, so hey, Delroy. So we see that good old Jerry got his heart torn out. Now, this is a Dominic Brasha directed film. And for those of you horror fans, will know that Dominic Brasha played Joey in Friday the 13th Part 5. And Stephen Baio is, of course, Scott Baio's brother. And Kim McCamey, which we're going to see her shortly, and Johnny Vinoker's on here too. I like Johnny Vinoker. Kim McCamey would not do any nudity in this movie. But guess what, folks? Later on, after this movie was made, she became an adult film actress. And she did more than just get naked. So she wouldn't do any nudity for this movie. But boy, oh boy, after this movie was over, she was in a whole heck of a lot of adult films. Yeah, exactly, Russell. Intro kill. We like those. Or I like those. And there is a Fangoria with Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, or Friday the 13th Part 5 on the cover. And that the Barney character, I've always said that the Barney character was for me the precursor to Randy, like the Randy character in Scream. He's the jokester. He knows all about the horror movies and he tries to warn people and nobody listens to him. So Johnny, played by Stephen Baio, is getting ready to go take a pee here. in what is kind of a early comedic scene. And he's peeing right on this couple here. And these are just like three goofy guys. Obviously, Stephen Bayo, I believe, is too old to be playing the role he is. And the girl driving the Jeep here is Kim McCamey, who, like I said, would not get naked for this movie, but had no problem getting naked and doing various other things in adult films later on. And Jodie Gibson, the blonde there, they said she would do anything. You know, you didn't even have to ask her; she'd pop her top or whatever. But evidently, Kim McCamey um, was as pure, clean and pure as a driven snow at this point. I'm sorry, but I always found that funny when actresses wouldn't get naked for a horror film, but maybe they weren't getting paid enough. Um, but you know, a few years down the road or a year down the road or whatever, they go into adult films and, you know, do everything, anything and everything. I think her name was Ashlyn Gear in the adult films, if I'm remembering correctly. You remember watching her, Russell? Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with people watching adult films. There's just, you know, whatever you do in the privacy of your own home, as long as it's not hurting anybody else, is your business. Um, just adult films have never been my cup of tea, really. She is a very pretty girl, and you know, I had seen, you know, what she looked like in adult films, and she was very attractive. You know, I ain't gonna put her down for her looks or anything because it's just, you know, she's attractive. And this is Merv Griffith's son, I believe. And these are the stuck up, snobby, rich people. See, you guys and gals get a lot of movie trivia. Well, especially when it's movies that I've seen and seen and seen over and over again. Sometimes Steve tells me, he said, you know way too much about this movie and the characters and the actors and actresses in it. So Sammy is telling his girlfriend that this house that they're going to, they're going up there to help Jerry and Connie Kim McCamey's character. They're going up there to help them, clean it up, spruce it up and stuff because Jerry and Connie want to open it up as a foster home for children, which is what it used to be before this young teenage boy, um, was accused of molesting some of the kids because he was mean to them, and that's how they got back at him, or back at him, and he ended up killing some of the kids, including some babies. So Sammy doesn't want his girlfriend to tell any of the other kids before Jerry and Connie do. So here's the grocery store delivery kid, and he's been tied up, and the killer is planning on doing some very nefarious things to this guy. And this is called Evil Laugh, and it's called Evil Laugh for the very reason that the killer laughs when they're getting ready to kill somebody, when they're in the process, and even after killing somebody. And this guy's like, you got a weird laugh. No, they didn't want to reconsider it. So these three guys have gotten here, and they're looking for Jerry because they're expecting Jerry to already be there. So they hear something. There's some kind of voice that's muttering, and they think it's coming from the closet that's saying, "Go away, get out. I told you not to do it." They say if that's Jerry, he sounds like he's on acid. So they think Jerry's hiding in the closet. And there's Mr. Burns again. And Mr. Burns says it's probably just the house settling. So Mark has decided that the voices were coming from the air vent in the closet. Spring is definitely on the way, Russell. You say the Canadian geese were honking today. We have geese around here too in Louisville. Sorry, gang. And so we find out that Mr. Burns has a very bitchy wife, but neither one of them is nice to the other. So, and here, Connie and Tina, yeah, almost forgot her name. Connie and Tina have arrived. And of course, these guys are all horn dogs as usual. So how Mark broke this lamp, I have no idea. He said it just fell. He didn't even touch it. How's a big lamp like that? Oh. And I hope a guy in a hockey mask named Jason doesn't show up. Little reference to the Friday the 13th movies. And Sammy and Betty have arrived. And I believe that button he has on, that Barney has on, says more brains on it. You can, of course, see it more clearly on the Blu ray or a high def version. They're still wondering where Jerry is because obviously his car's out there, but Jerry is nowhere to be found. Exactly, Russell. Fried human heart. And shortly, we're going to see people sitting around eating said heart as well. So, I always like thought this was kind of corny when she gets down. She's like, "Oh, I love all you guys," and getting down on the floor and tastes like cow. I wouldn't know because I mean, unless you're talking about it would taste like the cow meat. I've never ate a cow heart. I don't think hearts would be my thing, even in an animal. You either. I think Sammy and Betty are into some, pretty kinky stuff, it sounds like. That is an ugly house, though. This is kind of corny too. I always thought with that music playing. If you got your sound on, you're hearing this music, and like Mark's dancing with a chair, and Johnny and Connie are dancing with the table. Like, does anybody really like when they're doing cleaning? Like, I have sang and stuff like that, but I haven't done this. Like, and Lord help, I hope my butt's not moving like this. Those shorts are atrocious. I mean, it seems almost like a Breakfast Club montage gone wrong here. So they found a cassette tape, or Marks found a cassette tape in the. Everybody remember cassette tapes? I found a cassette tape in the fireplace. Now, this is where one of the creepy parts. I always thought this part gave me cold chills, and it still does. So they turn it on, and then Barney comes in there and says that Jerry's car's gone. So they all run outside before the tape starts playing. But then it says, "Go away, go away. Oh my God, oh my God. Soon they'll be dead. All dead. Soon they are dead. Why God? Why the children?" And then the voice is crying. I just always thought, just that voice coming out of that cassette tape is um, just so eerie. Well, old rock and roll classic, that's a whole other thing, Russell. I can't blame you for dancing to old rock and roll classics when you clean. But this song that they had playing was definitely not an old rock and roll classic. And they probably couldn't afford to pay for one, even if they wanted to put one in here. Now it looks like there's garbage all over the yard. I didn't see that earlier. So she doesn't even attempt to try to play that tape again. She just takes it out, throws it to the side, puts in a fresh tape. Well, probably that same tape they were listening to. And Mark's trying to get it on with Tina, and Mark's telling her, you and Johnny broke up 6 months ago. And she says, Johnny says a girl should never ask for sex. And he says, that's silly. All the conversations they have on this movie. So there's that pesky Fangoria magazine again. But where's Barney? What's going on here? Yes, that was Russell. That Fangoria magazine shows up several times in this film. And we just saw a knife come up through the bed there. So we have to wonder, is somebody going to kill Mark and Tina here? This is some corny dialogue. She's like, I don't want you to think I'm a slut. See, she uses the PJ Souls line from Halloween. See anything you like. So we're getting all kinds of horror movie references. Cool. I used to, well, I still do, but I haven't had them out in a while. I have a whole bunch of Fangoria magazines, and I have some Gore Zone. You remember Gore Zone, Russell? It wasn't around nearly as long as Fangoria. So, of course, we're getting to see a little more male nudity than the female nudity, which is probably not fun for you guys. And we see a hand coming up out of the bed, reaching for his ass. Oh, cool, Russell. You knew about the gore zones too. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And she says, I'm not playing with your butt. And he said, oh, if you're not, who is? Yeah, the that part there is definitely a Friday 13th reference. So here Barney is playing tricks on everybody again. And Johnny is none too happy with these two. That's right, a heartful dinner, Russell. You are correct there. They think that's a calf's heart. Sorry, folks. And Betty says, heart for dinner, that's disgusting. And of course, Sammy has to say, you got to eat it or you're going to get a spanking. So they're talking horror movies again. 10 Little Indians. I'm not eating monkey brains ever. I would never eat a monkey's brains. I'm not eating any brains. My gran and papa used to eat squirrel brains, and I was like, I know I'm from the country, but come on here, folks. I'm not going to eat squirrel brains. So Johnny's decided he likes the heart, says it tastes like chewy chicken, but we know they are definitely not eating an animal's heart. They're eating Jerry's heart. So those are not potatoes. We're going to find out that those are the infamous Rocky Mountain oysters. And I've never eaten Rocky Mountain oysters, and I would definitely not eat Rocky Mountain oysters after watching this movie. But Mark keeps thinking they're potatoes. Um, but the only thing I can think of that they are is cow testicles, because Mark doesn't know what Rocky Mountain oysters are, and they all go moo to him. So, um, Russell, if you know that Rocky Mountain oysters aren't cow testicles, let me know what they are, because that's what I was assuming that they were. Russell, you say our late mom made great steak and kidney pudding. Well, that might be good. I might be okay with a kidney, but brains. And some people eat tongue and all kinds of stuff. It's cow nuts. Okay, so I was correct on that. There they go, moving at him. She also made great haggis. I don't think I've ever had haggis. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, Russell. So they think this is Jerry, and it's not Jerry. It's Chief Cash. Chief Cash is kind of funny and corny. He's your typical overweight cop in a horror movie. He's probably been eating way too many donuts and other pastries and stuff. So he's looking for the boy, the delivery kid. And of course they haven't seen him. So Chief Cash, he says something to the effect that he said, "Well, it's just I never thought I'd enter this damn house again." So now they're starting to ask questions, Barney's like, "Connie, is this house haunted?" And she says, "Well," she said, "Jerry wanted to wait to tell you guys this, but I guess I will tell you." And we see that Chief Cash is going back outside to his squad car, and evidently he must have stepped in some dog poop there. So we got less than an hour left of this movie. This is not a very long movie. Um, an hour and 31 minutes, which is about average. Barney Fife. Yeah. Uh, so Freddie is played by Johnny Vinokur, who I guess is a deputy, but he's a goofy deputy. So that's who Chief Cash is talking to right now. There's Johnny Vinokur. So they, think that maybe the old caretaker that Burns fired is creeping around. So he's going to say something creepy here. He says, "I just got one thing to ask you." He says, "Now don't get upset at me. I'm just trying to help." So I guess he's just maybe interning because he says he's not a police officer yet. He wants to know who the guy sitting in the police car with Chief Cash is. And he's like, "What are you talking about? There ain't nobody in the car with me." He's like, "The guy in the back seat," which kind of goes back to an urban legend of the killer in the back seat. So he's going down there to check on Chief Cash, and oh, Chief Cash got his throat slit. He's like, "You're dead." And he says, "Oh, Martin must be here." And we're going to find out more about Martin. Oh, well, the killer got him as well. So now we're back to Connie telling the story about this house. Everybody wants to know how they got it so cheap, how Jerry got it so cheap. Well, everybody's afraid of the house. Dana, here is your reminder. Check heater in back room. I'm sorry, you hear my notification thing going off on my device. I left this heater on back here 2 nights, and Steve was like, "We need not to leave that on." So I've got a reminder, so I remember to turn it off. So she's saying about 10 years ago, there was a nice old man named Wright who ran this place as a foster uh, home for kids. And he hired Martin, this 18-year-old, to help out. But Martin was um, cruel to him. And so they said, well, he molested us. Three of the kids said he molested us. So Sammy's a real jerk and he's mad because there's no hot water. Um, so he's going to call Burns and complain. He says his dad tells him, you don't just ask for what you want, you take it. So this is a kind of funny scene too, because this is Sadie, Mr. Burns' wife. And we'll find out that Sadie was married to another man before and he had died. And she just thinks, that Mr. Burns is just a wimp. He's a weakling. I didn't catch that, but yes, Saved by the Bell reference. You were correct, Russell. So he was trying to sexually, pleasure her. And now he's like, listen, bitch, a man has his needs. And if you won't do your wifely duties, I'll take what I want. And she laughs in his face about it. So he literally tries to climb up on top of her and start doing his business. I think, Russell, you might be slightly ahead of me because I heard the Saved by the, or saw the Saved by the Bell reference. So Sammy evidently has called Mr. Burns and, the hot water's off. I want you to come out here and fix it. So she does kiss him on the head and he has to fix his toupee and she helps him out a little bit. So then the kids admit they lied, but Martin's father hung himself before he found out his son wasn't guilty. And so then Martin returned and cut the throats of all the children in their sleep. And then he set the house on fire and he killed himself. Pretty gruesome stuff for your standard run of the mill horror movie. And I just thought that this scene where Connie's telling the story is creepy too. So the story is that Martin comes back and kills people that stay in the house. Now, it was said that this guy was somebody that gave money to the filmmakers in exchange for them allowing him to have a role in the film. So he wasn't really an actor, I don't think. But they said during this, he almost like wrecked the car because he literally was getting into this part here and not watching what he was doing as far as driving the car. So Barney's like, I'm leaving. I've seen enough of these horror movies. I'm leaving. William Tell Overture on the cassette. Yeah. It seems that somebody is out there, heavy breathing, typical, slasher movie stuff. But I'm guessing the killer doesn't want dishpan hands because obviously they got some rubber gloves on, look like the kind that you wash dishes with. He tells him, at least I'm going to be alive, asshole. And he thinks Mark is going to take him back to town. So remember when I said Sammy and Betty were a little on the kinky side? Well, we're seeing more of this because she's Betty's down to her bra and her panties, and Sammy's got a dog collar on and some very uh odd looking underwear, and he's got Betty tied up, and he's calling her his slave. And I'd be like, you put that away, dude. I'm not getting whipped with that. And she tells him he's silly, that he looks silly. Well, he does indeed look silly. So he's got whipped cream, but for some reason that's not going to work. So he's like, damn it, he's got to go back down to the kitchen and get some more. That robe, that's just like, that's the icing on the cake there. Is that some Ready Whip? Or is that some generic kind there? So Sammy comes downstairs and Barney jumps up, Sammy, will you drive me to town? And he said, I'm busy, Barn. And he's like, oh, no, no, don't you guys have sex or anything? Which is, of course, a horror movie trope. And Sammy tells him, you've been reading too many of these horror magazines. You've been seeing too many horror movies. He says, "Why is the guy in Halloween trying to kill Jamie Lee Curtis? Why those dumb kids keep going back to Camp Crystal Lake? Let Jason chop them in their legs and their." He's like, "You're gonna have sex with her. You're gonna have sex with her, and don't do it. Don't touch her." He says every time someone has sex in a horror movie, they get murdered. Now, people talk about self referential horror movies all the time nowadays. But back then in 1986, when this came out, there weren't a lot of them that did this. Very few indeed. So Betty is still here, and at first she thinks this is Sammy coming in here, but it is soon apparent that it's not Sammy. This killer is very skinny, or they appear to be very skinny. Now, Betty knows she's in trouble now. So Mark is going to say, we need to get Connie and Tina to go swimming with us. And he says, well, Connie's Jerry's girl. He says, nobody's girl until you marry. He says, when you go swimming, there's a surefire way to tell if she wants you. I can't believe this guy believes this. Rub yourself all over your arms, your legs, your butt. It turns women on. Now, if, again, I don't know how this guy's so dumb that he can't figure that out. That's a load of BS. Uh oh. Ooh. Well, Russell, since you're the only one in here chatting, I hate to go away, but of course I gotta take my typical restroom break. So I'm gonna take myself out of the stream, but you continue to watch the movie and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back again. Had to go give me a little snack. Me and Steve got Papa John's yesterday evening, and they had these cinnamon pull aparts. These things are really good. So Mr. Burns says it's okay. When I fix your boiler and y'all got hot water again, I'll take you back to town. Yummy for tummy. Yeah. I mean, these things are best. These cinnamon pull aparts are best when you first get them, but they're not bad after the fact either. So Mark's still playing into this joke. So he's going to work on Connie now to get her to play into this joke for Johnny. The guy with the red shirt is funny. I think you're talking about Barney. Yeah. I think Barney's my favorite character in this. Well, apparently the killer takes off the mask and Mr. Burns knows the person. Um, and Mr. Burns got stabbed through his crotch area and out his ass, which I always found hilarious. This is so funny because Mark it tells him, remember to rub yourself all over Johnny. So, but he's already told Connie that Johnny has this rash and that he needs some kind of cream. And so she's like, "Is everything all right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was wondering if we can go someplace and be alone. And she thinks it's because he's embarrassed about his rash. So she says, "Okay, how about my room?" And he thinks, "Oh boy, I'm getting somewhere here." So he's telling him, Mr. Burns is in the basement fixing the boiler. And when he's done, he's going to take me into town. So Connie finally, relents and she says, "I understand, Barney." Kind of letting him know that she's not mad. So Barney's found that tape again, the creepy tape that had that eerie message on it. And so he's deciding to put it in and play it because, they never did figure out what was on it. We as the audience did. So here it goes. The children are dead. Get out. The children are dead. And Barney's freaking out. And he screams and he throws the radio or boombox. And Mark's making his move on Tina again. And she's like, I'm saving myself. And he says, for what? So he's playing the hurt card now. Oh, I'm hurt. And she's like, oh, I don't want to hurt you. So, see, this all played into his hands because now he's telling Tina, Johnny's up in Connie's bedroom as we speak. And he's hitting on her. This dude's a real piece of work. Oh, yeah. You care about her. Sure you do. So now he's telling her he's in pain. And now he's going to use the blue balls thing on her. And she said, I thought that was a myth. He said, I wish it was, but it's not. And she said, I'd love to help you with your pain, Mark, but I just can't. So meanwhile, Barney's going to go down in the basement because, Mr. Burns is taking too long to come back up there. So I think he found Mr. Burns' toupee there. And the killer's running up the stairs and he thinks it's Martin. It may very well be Martin. We don't know at this point. But whoever it is has locked locked Barney down in the cellar. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I have been sneezing like crazy for a few days now and I have a cough here and there. Sorry about that, folks. So Johnny's coming on to her and she's like, stop it. He's like, but I thought that. And she says, here, rub this on you and help you with your rash. Mark told me you got this rash. He said, I was rubbing myself to turn you on. But she says, Johnny, Jerry and I are getting married and you and I are only friends. And so now Johnny's very embarrassed. So now it's back to the exploits of Mark and Tina. So she wants him to check under the bed because the last time they got started with this, Barney was under the bed playing a trick on him. There's no one behind the curtain. He's shaking under the bed. How many of these movies have we seen, though, folks? Something's going to happen here. And there's no one hiding in the closet, but yes, there is. And they got an axe. And of course, Tina thinks, that Barney is messing around and Mark's messing around. So this is like Scream 2. Not Scream 2, but Scream also. When Tatum is going to get killed, she thinks it's a joke, can I be the helpless victim? So this is kind of like that as well. Like I said, I feel like a movie like this one in particular is a precursor to the stuff that would come later. So Johnny's getting ready to go downstairs, and it's not Barney. He just got hit in the face, knocked out. Killer's dragging him into the kitchen. And they're going to tie him up. He's like, what are you doing? Are you going to kill me? This is bad dialogue, though, folks. Even though I love this movie, it's bad dialogue. So he thinks it's Martin. He says, I'll do anything, Martin. I'm sorry, Martin. He said, I'm only an x ray technician. Okay, so this was, and that's a big ass microwave. Of course, they were back in the day. I remember when the microwaves were that big, when they first came out. Um, but people always told Dominic Brasha, the director of this movie, that this would not work because you cannot turn on a microwave with the door open. Yeah, but this is a horror movie. So we got horror movie logic here. So, yes, it will work with a little finagling within this horror film, right? And he's like, oh my God, it's not going to work. I don't feel anything. But the microwave is running. It's not going to work. But evidently, it's frying his brain from the inside out. He's like, Mom, I didn't touch the pie. Papa, fishing. I am Johnny. I am 3 years old. Hey, Hope. And he's like, I am young again. And if you got your audio going, he's like, I am young again. It's not working. And then bloop, yeah, his head just when the went into thermonuclear meltdown there. So Connie's hearing some of what's going on, and it doesn't sound right to her, so she's getting up. You need to check this out, Hope. Yeah, I think you would like this one. We got about 15 or so minutes left with the movie. Yeah, exactly, Russell. You said the microwave scene reminds me of the horror remake of Last House on the Left. Exactly. And I forgot to remind everybody, and I'm sorry this is late in the game to be reminding people, but I'm doing the movie roulette thing. So if you give a $5 super chat or more during any live streams, that includes watch alongs, you can name any movie you want me to watch and review. So just keep that in mind. Oh, and of course, yeah, the lines get cut. So yeah, chicks always carry around guns in their baggage, right? So, this is like the final girl stuff. Although, you know, we don't know about Barney, right? Could end up being a final guy. But this is typical final girl stuff here. But she's not a very good final girl. I must say that though. She's just shooting out in the darkness and wasting bullets and stuff like that. And there's the Fangoria magazine again, and you can see Joey's death scene. And that is Dominic Brasha, who directed this movie. Oh, Johnny's body's not there anymore. There's a lot of blood and everything. So Connie's headed down to the cellar. Oh no, she found Jerry. Well, now we know where Jerry has been all this time. There's the kid from the grocery store. And of course, in typical slasher fashion, the killer has, strategically placed the victims around. Uh oh. Oh no. So the killer's laughing again. And she again thinks it's Martin. We're going to find out if it's Martin. And she shoots the killer. And she's like, stop, stop, Martin, stop. And the killer says, I am not Martin. So who is it? It's Sadie. She says, everyone hated Martin. Those children lied. They deserved to die. Martin was a good boy. I loved him. So we're finding out he was her baby. That Martin was her son. And she said, I warned you to stay out of this house. So this is kind of like the Mrs. Voorhees thing. And she says, people like you hurt Martin. She said, that worm of a husband of mine tried to sell this place. And she said, it should be a temple to my son. She said, I killed everyone for my baby. Oh, but if you look there, there's a hand coming out there. Oh, who is it? It's Barney. So Barney's not dead. And Barney fatally shoots her. And he said he started thinking of all these horror movies he'd been seeing. She wouldn't kill me if she thought I was already dead. So, see, watching horror movies, a ton of them could save your life one day. They're never dead. That's right. That's right, Russell. So they're saying, let's get out of here. And here we go. But this is where a lot of horror movies would end, with her laughing, or maybe this shot here. But we get an extra scene. And no, that is not Kim McCamey, because once again, she would not do nudity in this film. So that's some stunt boobage there, folks. That is not Kim McCamey's body there. So they're listening to, or Connie is listening to a radio broadcast where they're basically making fun of what happened to her and the others. And she turns it off, but then she hears a noise. And she's telling herself, it's over. So we get to thinking, well, maybe Sadie's not dead. Why? This is something else that's funny. Why would she have a headshot picture that's signed like Love Jerry? Who has that? And so Connie's laughing again. It's nothing, right? Uh-oh. And she's like, no, no, you're dead, That seems like the killer is not dead. But we're going to have one more little twist here, folks. Just to let you know. I love this jerking around, though. This is so crazy. And it's a fake knife. So who could it be, folks? It's Barney. Now, what kind of sadistic SOB would do this to their friend after they were all, both of them were almost murdered by a killer that murdered all their friends? So, again, he's playing the horror movie card. He said, the killer's dead and buried. I went to the funeral. And he's like, don't be mad. It was just a joke. The killer always comes back one last time. And oh no. Seems Connie's lost it now. Barney, you shouldn't have done that. He's like, this is the best joke I ever played. I can't believe you fell for it. Most fun I've had in 2 weeks. And she's like, Barney, Barney. And he's like, no, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And Connie is taking on the role of the evil laugher, the killer now. If they had made a sequel, I'm sure she would have turned out to be the killer. And there we see body double for Kim McCamey was Donna Nevada, which I don't think that's a real name. So I hope that you guys and gals that were watching along, even if you weren't in the chat tonight, because I only saw Russell and Hope and someone else a little bit earlier. But if you were watching along and you were watching the movie as I went through it, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this watch along. And we'll be doing this again tomorrow night. We'll be Chopping Mall. I'll try to find a link for y'all to watch it for free for those of you that don't have your own copy of Chopping Mall. But this watch along tomorrow night will also be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, be on the lookout for another soup and jallos to drop. I'll be making another delicious soup and, hopefully delicious soup, and talking real briefly about another jallo. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Those are pre-recorded videos. Next week, will, unless people start showing up, will be the last week of live streams for Cannon Fodder and Dick's Picks. I think I'll try to keep They're All Messed Up as a live stream. But if nobody comes to Cannon Fodder and Dick's Picks next week, I will keep doing them, but they will be pre-recorded from there on out. You're not a fan of Chopping Mall, Russell, but you'll watch. Well, I'm glad that you'll watch along with me. I appreciate it in any event. Can't win them all, can we? But I'm glad in any event to have you on here, Russell, regardless. So we officially reached the end of Evil Laugh. Again, I hope you guys and gals that were watching along or just watching me as I talked about it, you enjoyed this. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat, everybody that was watching that maybe didn't feel comfortable chatting. And I want to thank everybody in advance for those of you that will watch this on the replay. And I guess that is all from me for tonight. I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Thank you, Russell. You said great stream and film as always. I appreciate that. So that is all from me. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday night, folks. And we'll be doing this all over again, just with a different movie tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Chopping Mall. Good night, Russell. Good night, everybody else. And I'll see everybody next time.